Are you ready to find out more about the very first Easter? Today's story is all about Jesus at the cross. This is a really big moment in history. In fact, it's part of the story that changed the world forever. Our last video was also a really big moment in the Jesus story. Can you remember what happened? We are on our third Easter story video in this series. In video 1, we learned all about Jesus entering Jerusalem on a donkey, and the crowds were shouting and singing out praises to God. They believed that Jesus was God's special promised king. In video 2, Jesus shared a special meal with his friends. Can you remember what it was called? It begins with the letter P. It was the Passover meal. It used to remind the Jewish people that God saved his people out of slavery in Egypt, and they would have a roast lamb and they would drink some wine and eat some bread. Jesus gave this special meal a new meaning. Now it would remind Jesus' followers that Jesus died to save his people from their sins. As Jesus' followers today, we have this special meal in church together. We eat the bread and we drink the wine, and it reminds us what Jesus has done. Our story today will help us discover what Jesus did to save us from the punishment our sins deserve. Watch out for the clue in the big idea coming up next. See this money jar that I have right here? It's full with pennies and pounds and lots of coins. Can you hear? I'm saving up for something really special as a reward for working hard and saving up all of my pennies. It would be really rubbish if someone came along and stole my money jar. And if they did steal it, do you think that would be okay? What do you think I should do if I caught them? Imagine one of my friends came along and said, "I know that thief stole your money and you should punish them, but why don't you let me take the punishment? I'll swap in for them. When you look at me, see the thief and punish me. And when you look at the thief, see them as your friend, as if it were me." Swapping places with a thief like that. Wow, that friend would be so generous. That would be so kind. Surely the thief would have to say, "Yes, please, do that for me." Today's big story has a big swap like that in it too. Do you think that you can spot it? Well, let's listen to the Bible story and we'll find out. Today's big Bible story comes from Luke chapter 23, verses 13 to 49. After the special dinner that Jesus had with his friends, he was arrested. He had done nothing wrong, but one of his friends betrayed him just to get some money. So a man called Pilate was the governor, and he would decide if Jesus was innocent or if he was guilty. Pilate thought that Jesus was innocent. There was nothing wrong with him. But Pilate wanted the crowds and the religious leaders to like him. So even though Jesus had done nothing wrong, he would punish Jesus anyway. But the crowds wanted more. That wasn't enough. The religious leaders hated Jesus so much that they got the crowd to ask for a murderer called Barabbas to be set free instead. Jesus had done no wrong. Barabbas had killed someone. Who do you think deserved to be punished? But the crowds wanted even more. And then we read this. Wanting to release Jesus, Pilate appealed to the crowd again. But they kept shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." This time, the crowd wanted innocent Jesus to die. Pilate listened to the crowd. He set the bad man free, and he gave Jesus to the religious leaders so that they could kill him on a cross. It all seems so wrong, doesn't it? The innocent man is sent to die, and the bad man is set free. Well, the soldiers took Jesus up a hill and they nailed him to a cross. On the same day, 2 thieves were punished beside him, each on their own cross. The 2 criminals spoke to Jesus. One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God," he said, "since you are under the same sentence. We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." One thief wanted Jesus to prove he was the king by not dying and by not letting him die either. But Jesus had been telling his friends right from the beginning that he was the king who came to die. Jesus hates sin. He hates what it does to people, that it kills them. Remember the last video, Jesus said he would be the Passover lamb, that he would die and take away sins so that people could be friends with God, so that people could be friends with Jesus, who is God. It wasn't staying alive that proved that Jesus was the king, but by dying for people's sins. This man had got it all wrong, but the other thief was different. He knew Jesus was innocent and didn't deserve to die at all. He knew as thieves they had done wrong and deserved to be punished. He asks Jesus to remember him when he enters his kingdom. He believed Jesus was the king. He was asking Jesus to have mercy on him since he had done wrong. This thief wanted Jesus to forgive him. So Jesus says something so wonderful to that thief. He says, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Jesus promises that he will make a way for this thief to be friends with God. So Jesus takes the thief's sin away. Jesus died to take the punishment for all the bad things the thief had done so that he could be in paradise with God, so that he could be friends with God. But Jesus doesn't just promise that for the thief. Jesus promises that for everybody who would trust in him. Well, did you see the big swap that happened in today's story? The person who had done wrong was forgiven. Someone else took the punishment. Maybe you haven't stolen anything like the thief, and I really hope you've not killed anybody like Barabbas did. But that doesn't mean that you or I are totally innocent. We've definitely done wrong things, haven't we? Maybe we fight with our brothers or sisters, or we say really horrible, mean things to our friends or our parents. Have you ever said that you hate someone? We sin against other people. Hurting God's people hurts God too. And we sin against God too, whenever we do, say, feel or think anything bad about him. But God made a way for all of our wrongs to be dealt with. In fact, it's not us who gets punished for our sin. Jesus takes our wrongness. He takes everything that we give him and he swaps it for his rightness, for all his goodness. Jesus gives us his rightness so that we can be friends with God, with Jesus again. How amazing is that? What a good God. He loves you so much that he doesn't want any of your sin to get in the way of being friends with him. So, are you going to take the rightness that Jesus offers you? Will you say thank you to Jesus? Have a think about that as you answer the questions for today's video. Isn't it just amazing that Jesus died in our place? He took the punishment that we deserve, and he opened the way to God for us so that we could be friends with him. What an amazing King Jesus is. Come back next time to find out why Jesus is the only one that we can trust with our whole lives, and what happened after the cross. See you soon.